Okay. You're his supervisor, man. You got stripes.
You're
and
right,
it's the same thing I told Neff 2 years ago, man. You got stripes. It's your responsibility.
You're right, it was. It is.
So I'm asking you, why couldn't he do that? As his supervisor.
He could have, yes.
Okay. So now my point becomes is the fact that he made the choice to create that situation. He could have done all kinds of other things other than act like he was terrified of me.
I'm not going to dispute any of that with you, Mike. I'm not. He could have done that.
Okay.
Correct, but
Who loves you, baby? You're beautiful.
A couple of years, things may change when all the kids grow up and start wearing ties and going to the polls.
You ever have that feeling where you're not sure if you're awake or still dreaming?
Mike,
What's up with Daubert? Really? Are you that scared, man? Keeping the car between him and I, you can call it Officer Daubert keeping himself safe. This was an overreaction. And that's what I've been trying to get through to you guys, that officers, when they overreact out on the street, it gets people hurt.
Come on!
Hey man, why is he? Hey! He wasn't even trying to fight you guys. The man has overreacted on my video before. Last night was an extreme overreaction. And I want to take
you may feel that way, Mike. You may feel that.
I want to take a second and correct you on something, because you're talking about me walking in and out in between cars and all over the scene. I've been back and I've watched that video and I put it up uncut.
Okay.
I walked around the perimeter of the stop every single time. I did not go in between the motorcycle and the car. I did not go in between two cars.
Mike, when I was walking up there, I walked in between two cars and you walked right in between Officer Daubert. I'm not here to dispute that with you.
I've got it on video, man.
Mike, I do too. You walked right in between where the motorcycle was partially in the lane of traffic on the right-hand side and partially on that driveway.
I'll tell you what, I'm watching, man. Watch how I know, but just watch him.
Mike, when I was walking up there, I walked in between two cars and you walked right in between Officer Daubert. I'm not here to dispute that with you.
Is that the sergeant over there? You feel better now that he's here? Concerns me though, because what I equated to all that happening last night is you guys are trying to red flag me. That's what happened last night. That's what that seemed like. You don't act like you don't know what red flag laws are.
No, I don't. I'm not well versed in that.
Why don't you see my face? Because he doesn't know what red flag laws are.
No, I'm going to double check everything you're telling me. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know everything about every single law. I'm going to look this stuff.
You're a police officer. You're a police officer who's very concerned about officer safety.
Talking about stuff right now in reference to what happened last night.
Okay.
Do you want to continue talking about that? Because now sometimes when we get to talking, we get off of what our original talk was all about. Do you want to talk about what's going on last night, or are you trying to continue the verse of trying to go somewhere more with this conversation?
Somewhere more with the conversation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because right now you're trying to make me look like I'm foolish when I'm telling you I want to double check and read everything before I go about giving you an exact answer of what red flag is.
Okay, I'm not asking you to define red flag laws. Are you familiar with red flag laws?
Yes, I am familiar with red flag laws.
Thank you. That's all I was trying to get to.
But sometimes, Mike, I feel that you want a full explanation of everything, and I'm not going to give you a full explanation of the red flag laws.
I don't need a full explanation.
I understand red flag laws.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What happened out there was pretext for a red flag violation on me. You guys are going to try to red flag me and make me some kind of psycho.
I know nothing about
because Daubert running around acting all scared and then you walking up saying the irrational stuff. There was nothing irrational going on there. The stop was finished. Do you realize that now?
The traffic stop was done. The traffic stop was done. The traffic stop was done. Yeah, I called out here that I'm out with an individual on RSO, request to speak to officer. That's what the call is right now. When I got there, Mike, the vehicle, I don't know where the traffic stop is continued. I don't know where it's got. I don't know if it's done or not. The traffic stop was done. The vehicle is in the roadway. It's partially on the roadway, off the roadway or whatnot. If the traffic stop's over, Officer Daubert has to lawfully be there because the vehicle is partially in the roadway waiting for a driver to come pick up said vehicle, correct? Were they waiting for somebody to come pick up said vehicle?
Officer Daubert has to be there?
Well, he's sitting there blocking traffic so it doesn't get hit by a car.
Okay. Okay.
It's the same thing as a motor vehicle,
Sir,
right?
Sir,
Mike,
let's
could
be
the
honest
guy
about
have
a
moved
motor.
it?
Let's
Could
be
the guy
honest,
have
a guy
moved it?
about a motorcycle. It could have been pushed up into a parking
That's
stall.
what I'm about
It
to
could have
tell you,
been
Mike.
anything.
I'm about to tell you, could the guy have moved it? Did he ask? I don't know. He could have moved it over there, and Officer Daubert could have left, yes.
Okay. Now, the other aspect of that, can you at least admit, looking back on it now, when you got there, the traffic stop was done. The ticket had been issued. The guy was done. All he was waiting on was somebody to come get the bike.
I did not know where the traffic stop
I understand.
was.
I
Because when
understand
I
you
got there,
didn't
Officer
then.
Keenan was up there talking with the people that were there to get the.
I understand that you didn't then, but now with the information that you have post, you understand that the traffic stop was over, right?
With the exemption, though, or the add-on that the officer's vehicle is there waiting for the vehicle to be moved so that it doesn't get hit.
Okay.
That's why traffic lights were on the vehicle, from my understanding.
Okay, so that's something similar to a roadway obstruction.
Pretty much. It would be the same thing, Mike, as if we were in the same area. Let's just say there was a full-size vehicle. The traffic stop is done, but we're waiting for a tow truck to come.
I got you.
Or something else to remove said vehicle. We're not going to sit there and just let the vehicle sit out.
Okay, so I guess
In the area of traffic.
I guess my question would be: is with as time pressed as you guys were and shorthanded as you guys were last night?
There is. You just heard it on the radio. There's no units available. Do you mind if I go ahead and go?
Why didn't Daubert say to him, "Hey, we're time pressed tonight. If you could pull that bike up in the parking spot and just wait here, I'm cool. I'm going to head on."
You're asking me a question that would be Daubert's answer. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. You're his supervisor, man. You got stripes.
You're
And
right,
it's
I
the
did.
same thing I told Neff 2 years ago, man. You got stripes. It's your responsibility.
You're right. It was. It is.
So I'm asking you, why couldn't he do that? As his supervisor.
He could have. He could have. Yes.
Okay. So now my point becomes is the fact that he made the choice to create that situation. He could have done all kinds of other things other than act like he was terrified of me.
I'm not going to dispute any of that with you, Mike. I'm not.
There's-
He could have done that.
Okay,
correct, but
the
he
last
didn't.
thing I want to clarify is, can you please explain to me what words I mixed up of yours? Constitutional
Mike, the
carry
last
state.
time that I talked with you, my words got mixed up and changed and stuff. I do believe that there was video in reference to our conversation one time over there by where that old sushi place used to be. We were talking about your tow truck. I was out there on a kind of a check welfare on an individual by the Jimmy John's, in between the Jimmy John's and the Circle K or whatnot.
Okay, ringing a bell. By the
off of 23rd Street.
Yokohama place?
Right, yeah, right,
Okay.
right near there or whatnot. And then there was, from City Commission meeting, there was a video that you played, and it only had a real quick dialogue of our conversation, which I don't believe was the full accurate conversation that we had. There was a snippet of a full conversation that we
Okay.
had.
What's up?
Put this call note.
You know, your chief admitted to some federal crimes at the Community Police Review Board meeting this past week.
I haven't even watched any of it.
You really should. 127:35 is the time marker.
All right.
He literally admitted that it's a practice, common practice for you guys to use threats of charges to gain compliance. You do realize there's federal codes against that, right?
I don't know what you want me to say.
I'm visiting with people on the street to make sure you guys are aware that there's federal codes against something that you don't have a policy for.
I would have to confirm with some research for myself to get myself more proficient with it.
I would please ask that you do that. It's 18 USC 241 and 242.
18, sorry.
18 USC 241, 242. It's both of them, 241 and 242.
All right.
And then it's also 42 USC 1983 and 1985.
I'm sorry, US 42 US 19.
1983 and also 42 US 1985. These discuss the threats of or intimidation out of federally protected civil rights, such as the press, and it also discusses conspiracy to deprive those civil rights, which would be the same as a pattern or practice within the department, which is what the chief admitted to the other night.
Now, let's take a look at that. Did I change any of your words?
I don't know. I've never
Okay.
gone back to read any video or anything like that. But it was just a small snippet of our conversation, which was larger and greater than what
Okay.
was on.
Granted, and 30-minute conversations happen all the time.
Correct.
And then when you guys go into court, only 5 minutes of it is shown.
And it also discusses conspiracy to deprive those civil rights, which would be the same as a pattern or practice within the department, which is what the chief admitted to the other night. And I'm just trying to make sure that you guys are aware.
No, I greatly appreciate the insight. I'll just look up for myself.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Mike, that's a pretty truck.
Thank you.
Usually these tow trucks, man, they got some miles on them.
That's
They ain't got no dents, no dings. That means there's two things. Either you're really good, right, that you don't have dings on your truck, or you like your truck a lot, you just don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, some of those trucks that got these dings and stuff all over
You don't-
through the mud, you know?
my truck is brand new.
It is.
You don't see a lot of dings. I've got a couple of them that you don't recognize very easily. I've got on the other side here, my running board has got a little push in on it. And then if you look at the back here, right on the tail on the driver's side as I drive away, you'll see where I got hung up on a trailer hitch one time.
One time.
Any tow operator that tells you they don't tear up cars, they're a damn fool liar. Because I've torn the shit out of some cars, but the difference is how you take care of it.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the difference?
If that's what the prosecutor or defense wants to play.
Okay,
now.
but here's the thing. I didn't misconstrue your words.
It appeared that they were.
Misconstrued? Okay.
Did you hear when it said the gunshots fired or whatever, and there was no units to respond? There was lots of stuff going on right there.
I didn't hear all that, and there's a skeptical part of me that thinks that might have been one of the other officers giving you a way to get out of it.
No, because they were asking me if I was okay, and I said I was fine. And then that call came out. I think it was up at fortunately we had some more calls that came out last night. There was shots fired. That one that was at like, what was that, 9-ish? 8:45, 9 o'clock, right around there. I think that was right in the same area that we were just at there, about 6th of Michigan or 3rd of Michigan or something. Main, I think it was Main Street last night, 3rd of Main, which was kind of odd right by the hospital. Like, I could look through this thing. I do believe I probably got rid of that.
Well, and I remember the conversation now, so I get what you're saying. And I understand what you're saying about me using a little snippet, but I used a little snippet to say, hey, this guy couldn't say yes right off the bat. And that's my point, is we need officers that can understand these things right off the bat, because if you can't say yes right off the bat that I understand I can't do that, how do we know that you're not out doing it?
Mike, from my recollection, it was just a quick, like, hey, here's the law, here's the federal law, here's the statute number, or however the feds deem the number. What do you know about that? Wow, I mean, that was quick. I don't recall it being how do I react to anything like that?
And I'll go pull my audio and double check it, but I'm pretty sure that I said something about these are threats to gain compliance, things like this. I mean, look at it from our point of view. When you guys are out questioning us at a scene,
A victim or suspect or witness?
when you guys are out questioning us at a scene, we don't really get a lot of options to say, hey, get back to us.
In a way, you can. Unless you're being detained, right? I mean,
no,
we have enough.
actually,
If the
if
person
I'm-
doesn't want an attorney, person wants an attorney, then we have to, we have to go to Miranda rights, and then we don't ask them any more questions, right? But if a person's a victim and they want to talk with us, we're going to talk with them, right? If a person's a suspect and they want to talk with us to tell their side, yeah. We can do our investigation without doing Miranda until it gets to that point where it's interrogation and detention.
With somebody that's standing here that knows his rights, I understand that you're going to say all that stuff. I also know that KLETC in their constitutional law class does not teach constitutional law. They teach how to get around constitutional law. I know this. Okay.
I don't know how KLETC does it, but I know when I was in the academy teaching it, we talked about constitutional law.
You talked about constitutional law, but you talked about it in context of how not to get strung up and how not to get sued when you're conducting your investigations, when you're conducting your interrogations. You're more cued in on the okay, if they invoke, you can't ask questions anymore because you can get sued. You know, if that happens. I'm not saying it's that extreme in the conveyance of it in the class, but what I'm saying is the focus of that intent behind that constitutional law class that you take in law enforcement training is not to educate you guys about our rights and privileges. Okay. It's to educate you guys how not to get in trouble against our rights.
And that would have to be something that you have to talk to KLETC on what they're wanting to teach me.
I understand. But the point is you're telling me now that somebody that knows his rights, you're going to say all this right stuff. But when it comes down to it, to somebody out here that doesn't know their rights, and I've seen it happen too many times, that you guys will push the line with them as far as you can, knowing that they don't know their rights. That is offensive to us.
We would read them their rights if it got to be the point of interrogation and detention where we have to then read somebody their rights.
Right, but how many times do we have officers that are doing everything right up to the point of that and then going a different direction to keep the conversation going rather than going right in and saying, hey, okay, he's going to invoke. You guys manipulate to try to keep the conversation going and keep them talking.
I don't know.
It's like all the small talk at the scenes. You get them comfortable. Harvey pisses me off with this because, and honestly, the racial profiling, this shit that Harvey does is crazy. You guys send him out there. It's almost like, I'm not going to say you do, but it's almost like you send him out there to loosen up the black guys so they'll talk more. I've seen this happen on scenes. All the white people out around and Harvey in the middle interacting with these guys and chumming it up with them. And next thing I know, somebody's in cuffs. It's wrong.
I don't know that.
It's a play on mentality. And I have an issue with the fact that police in general play that mentality on people that aren't as able to keep up with it. Aren't as able to, on the ball here, and know what's going on.
You can be upset with that.
And it's not fair and it's not right. Have I made you fearful for your life at all right now?
No, you and I have had right here a conversation. I know you've had it there the whole time. I saw when we got out. It was the bulges a little bit.
It's my point though. You're not scared. You have no reason to be scared and you know it.